There are many teachings out there that say that the next period through 2010 is a time of manifestation. It is during this period that the collective consciousness of which we are all part will choose and manifest its destiny for the next cycle. So it's very important that people remain focused in a positive state in this year. It's important all the time, but it seems to be especially important that it be done during this year. Be careful what you think of, folks. Be careful what your thoughts are. Do not think thoughts of hatred against people like the ruling elite, against the ruling factions of this planet. Sure, feel empathy for their victims, but act in empathy by standing up for those victims, by refusing to comply with this system. Any soldiers out there, if you're being sent to a war, don't go. Just refuse to fight. All of you. You're not out there protecting freedom. You're out there removing freedom. That's what you're doing. You don't make peace through war. As Gandhi said, there is no path to peace. Peace is the path. Once people begin to realize that and begin to live their lives in that way and begin to act towards others in that way, once the police start doing their job of protecting the people and arresting the criminals in power, the corporate criminals, the political criminals, these people who are taking the rights away from the people, once people begin to realize that these are simply people like you and me, and that these people need to be held accountable for their actions, and once the police start acting to do this and start doing their job properly, we can seriously start to affect change. And understand, folks, that just think about it, folks, any of the people down the line that cover this stuff up as well, any news reporters, any local politicians, any local police officers, all of these people, these are all complicit in these crimes. And they're just people, folks. You've got to understand that these are just people, just like you, just like me. Forget this whole celebrity thing, this whole social status thing. Forget it and just see that they are people. There is a certain group of people that have manipulated the human consciousness into thinking that actual hierarchy exists, that social status actually means something, but it doesn't. Ultimately, they're just people. And it is through creating these types of division within our social structure that they have managed to maintain the control that they've got, the control that they are right now consolidating and securing for all future generations, unless we stand up and prevent this from happening. But a little bit more about that after the break, folks. I think it's time for a break now. So we'll go and have a break, and you can think about those things for a while, and I'll talk to you in a few minutes. And welcome back, folks. Now, in all the shows that I've done for you since I started doing this radio program, in almost every show, I've attempted to help people gain a clearer understanding of the true nature of reality and of the monetary system that has been used to enslave us all to debt. And now we are seeing open debt slavery implemented in Iceland with the collapse of one of their major banks. What we need for the people of the world, for every country in the world, is an economy that works. We need an economy where there is no interest, no inflation, no deflation, and most certainly no wars. Folks, if we could issue our own money from the people to the people, many of the problems that we face as a society would simply disappear overnight. But ultimately, we don't even need a society that is economically based. What we need is a society that is humanitarianly based. As I said earlier in the show, and as I've often said before, it's nice to have someone to blame. This is why we all tend to look at the ruling elite and we blame them for all of our problems. But really the biggest problem that we face as a species is a loss of self. We have become divided. we have become a planet of individuals, when the reality is that we are all actually connected. The reality is that there is only one self, and we have lost our connection to that self. Coming to the realization that the entire pyramid structure that exists on Earth, this entire corporate monstrosity that we're facing, is only held up by its supporting blocks, and we are the supporting blocks. It is by removing ourselves from this system, by turning our back on this system, by refusing to fight the wars, by refusing to pay the taxes, by understanding that the government is simply a group of people. It's an association of people that has been used to inflict their will, or the will of the people who control these governments, the will of the ruling elite. It's a system that has been used to inflict that will upon the majority of the population of Earth. But the reason it functions is due to our acquiescence, due to our compliance with these rules, these laws. Ultimately, the people who run the government, they don't have the right to do what they are doing to the world. They don't have the right to do what they are doing to the people. The people of Iceland are very much on the right track by standing up and saying, no, we're not going to pay this bill. We're not going to accept the debt of this bank. I mean, the whole money system is such a joke, folks. I mean, there is no money. There's no reason why anything should be based monetarily. There's no reason for anybody to be in debt and to work to pay off any fictitious bill to any private bank. If anybody's going to pay the bill, which doesn't even really exist, but if anybody is going to pay it, it should be the CEOs of the bank. Let whoever runs the banking system pay the bill. Let the Rothschilds and the Rockefellers and the Morgans, let all these people pay the bill, if there is even a bill. But seeing as how the whole system is contrived and orchestrated, then clearly the existence of such a bill should be put under careful scrutiny as well. Because the reality is that there is no real bill. It's fiction, folks. The whole monetary system is completely fake, and that's just the way it is. And it's designed to do exactly this to the people. It's designed to eventually enslave the entire planet. That's precisely why I spend so much time on speaking about the monetary system. I believe that, well, that's one good way of waking people up. Now, in regards to waking people up, as I've often said, there are going to be a lot of people who don't wake up. It's going to have to get worse for a lot of these individuals. I spend my time doing what I do and trying to wake people up, simply because I feel that that's what I need to do. I do it because I have a passion for doing so. But I can also admit that there are going to be a lot of people who don't wake up. This being the case, I don't feel any responsibility for those people who do choose to remain blind to the issues of the world, even in the face of the abundant amount of evidence that is right before their eyes. I don't feel that it is my role or my responsibility to provide the scaffolding for those people. I simply put my perspective out there, and I do it because I care. But ultimately the best thing that I can do for my existence is to establish my own place in the world, to put a garden in, to have a retreat to go to get myself a steady supply of food, to become as self-sufficient as I possibly can, so that if and when the monetary system does disintegrate, which it eventually will, I won't be forced to live in a FEMA camp. I won't be forced to have to buy genetically modified food with food stamps. I'll be living in a situation where I have a steady supply of food and where money really isn't part of the equation. The best thing I can really do for myself is to get off the grid, to stop even doing these shows, and to simply get off the grid and go and set myself up and wait for the big crunch. As a friend of mine has pointed out, one must even question our moral obligation, the moral obligation of those who speak out the way we do. And he asked the question to me that are we only raising awareness of an impending demise that is in fact inevitable? Are we being cruel by drawing attention to that which must occur? And there are many people who feel like this. I believe personally, through my research and through my connection to whatever you want to call it, to spirit, I believe that this period, this whole 2012 period, is a time of change. I believe that that change will be what we, the people, make it.